All right, good evening. I'm hoping I'm going to get this right this time. This is take three. I never do take three. Welcome to tonight's Freedom Thinking Community Group, everybody. Um, my name's Dave Elleray. I'm one half of Freedom Thinking. The other half is Jen, who is on her way. She's just putting Lucia to sleep. We're around at our mate's house today because our Wi-Fi is appalling. The date is the 16th of February, 2026. Hey. Oh no, but no. Sorry about that. I'll just wait because she'll ring back again because she doesn't like being hung up on. Sorry, everyone, this isn't going well. I'm not going to do take four. I'm just going to carry on with this one.
Just put do not disturb.
Yeah, no, it's WhatsApp though, isn't it? I don't know how to do that. Can you do that? Uh,
Just on your computer, but do not disturb.
how do you do it?
Are you on a Mac?
Yeah.
Top next to your clock, you've got all your icons.
Yeah.
You should have a focus thing along the top.
Focusing.
Yeah, like or you've got control center.
Oh, I can't see it.
So
Uh,
you should have like a little round thing with colors. Then you have like two lines like that on the
no.
top. No,
No.
Oh,
Oh yeah, with dots on them.
yeah,
maybe, yeah. And then something should say focus, hopefully.
No.
Or does it say do
Do
not
not disturb.
do
yeah.
Do
not
not disturb
disturb? Do not disturb.
in this event. Cool. Well done. Thank you. We're back
Okay.
in the room.
Take
Sorry, everyone. Sorry. Right. Let's get ourselves back in the room. Yeah, so this is a via donation event. Anybody who wishes to make a donation, please have a look in the description below. Even if you've made it this far, please have a look in the description below. There's ways to make donations. There are loads of, if you're new to this channel, there are loads of videos out there. We've put out so many. Freedom Thinker Community Group, you'll find so many different topics that people have brought. What we like to do with this community group is we like it to be relevant to you lot. So whoever shows up on the day or whoever sends a message or an email or a Facebook post or a text or something like that saying, please, can you speak to this subject? That's what we like to do. We like to make it relevant to you lot. So thank you to everybody over the years who've contributed and brought topics. And thank you to everybody who's here tonight. Loads of love to everybody. So does anybody have a topic they would like to speak to tonight? Carolina.
Hello, hello.
Mhm.
Hi Dave and hi Jen.
Hiya.
It's like singing lullabies. Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here. It's been so long. And yeah, I was saying that I would like to talk about really seeing people. And the funny thing as you were starting, like I think the most helpful thing would actually to see the three tries of like take three and the start of this, because that speaks volumes to like,
To how shit we are.
well, not shit, like how great we are at like sort of like navigating things, right? We're still here. You didn't say, well, just just whatever. We can't do this. Let's edit the whole thing up. And um because I've been around this understanding for a good 13 years at least. That doesn't make me master or level whatever, right? Of anything. Like I'm still like day one for so many things. And I could get caught up as I would have got caught up if I have to start three times the call, and I will start having a lot of thinking about how shit I am and why I don't think about this, and why did I mute, and why is everybody calling when I'm doing the call, and why is it going wrong, and the universe is against me, and I could have built story, 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 story. And I think the fact that now we can just, I can just at least, is not my call. So I can sit here with total calm and think, oh, the innocence with what like Dave is worrying about starting these properly. It's like, it's just like he thinks it's going wrong, but this is the best thing to see. That
Thanks, love.
that
Hey, at least it's not me.
well, how do you keep going when things seem to go wrong or
I think I never pitched myself as professional in the first place. So as long as I'm not doing that, nobody can expect anything like quality, I
well,
suppose.
isn't this professional? You see, this is what maybe I mean about really seeing people. Seeing people is that how many takes it takes the people that actually show something, or how many times they try until they actually get there. Like, the problem is not that things may go not as we thought they would go, like, or you have an idea how this should start, and be like a perfect flow, and then we fight with that. And the thing is, sitting on the beauty that, well, this is how today starts, whether it is the 16th of the 15th of February, or like, right? It's like we just we just understand that feeling, and it allows us to um we come here, I guess, to, oh, Dave, Jen, just ask my questions and sort out my life and let me, know how I should be doing things as good as you do. And it allows us to know, oh, so this is life.
Live.
So I
Yeah.
have an idea of how things are supposed to go. And then I don't want people seeing me when things don't go as I thought they were going to go, like, just fighting with that. So,
In my world, that's one of the, I feel like that's like, because I think people can look at us and we talk about the shifts and changes that's happened in our lives, and the real. We're not talking about something that's fake. We're not talking about something made up. But then I think quite often people have this idea of some form of kind of almost like an escape from humanism. Do you know what I mean? And some form of anesthetic to life. And like Jen and I are so keen to kind of hammer home, look, there is no anesthetic to life, and there's only one escape from humanism. The human being is an infinitely is an infinite experiential being. It can experience the deepest hells through to the deepest loves. And, you know, both Jen and I both experience all of it. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't so much that we even found something where we escaped our reality. We found something that shifted our reality beyond our comprehension, which is a very different thing to escaping our realities. And but both of us are so keen to let people know that, when we're not polished, we're not one of these fancy YouTube channels that spends ages editing the stuff and has all this blingy shit to start off with. We're just two people. If people want to listen to us, they can listen to us. We're not going to pretend to be anything we're not. Do you know what I mean? And it's important to us because we can't be asked to do all the editing. But it's also important to us because I think most people, the the thing that sets people's balls rolling in terms of their well-being is when they start to wake up to the notion that they're actually okay. In spite of how they feel, in spite of how the shit that shows up, they're all right. Yeah. No, you're right. Thanks, love. Carry on. Sorry.
no, that's beautiful. And I think, well, we have known you for so long, and Yeah, we've seen you go through some shit and then some, and we known about your stories and I remember Jen coming from doing some beautiful, polished, perfect videos, um, which were the source of some of the things we had at the beginning to look at.
Yeah,
And
Three Principles movies.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And what
that
you
was awesome.
that was awesome, absolutely awesome. I remember just watching some of Jen's videos endlessly, like just on
Mm.
loop.
Such a
Uh,
shame they've gone.
they're gone.
Yeah,
Oh,
such a shame. Yeah.
oh, well. Um, but the beauty of you saying, well, we can't be asked, like, no, because if if this was about the words, like, then it wouldn't be how you are um, helping people. So nothing needs to be edited. It's like what you were saying about life. Like, you know, you can go through whatever, but you're okay. So the problem starts when we try to edit.
It's
Well,
a one take thing, isn't it?
yeah. So I like this feeling, but I don't like this other one. So I'll try to make, I only try to feel the ones that I like, and the experiences that I don't like, can you please help me erase them, and or just, you know, put something so I don't feel them.
Mm.
And that's what I heard when you were saying that. Um, Being human is just being able to color with every single color of the palette. And as Sid Banks said, it's just we're not afraid of our experience.
It's the only thing you can ever actually be afraid of. And it was something that hit me a couple of years ago, and I realized the magnitude of it when it hit me. There's only ever one thing a human being's ever been afraid of in the entire history of mankind. Just one. And I'll ask people, what do you think it is? And they'll be like, death. No, some people choose death. No, it's not death. And it takes a bit of thinking about. But when you realize the magnitude of the truth of it, it's it's a game changer. It would be a game changer for mankind if it could see it. If each and every single one of us could see that the only thing we've ever feared ever is our own thought creation, because that's the only thing we're ever actually experiencing. We're only ever experiencing our own consciousness. So, therefore, the only thing that mankind has ever feared in the whole history of all the shite things that have gone on this planet, it's been the individual's own consciousness, the image or the sentence or the impression that they have generated about a circumstance or an unknown, and like when you put fear into its context and you put fear into its rightful place, when you start human beings fear what they don't understand, and if you don't understand fear, then bugger me, you've got yourself a dog chasing its tail. But when you start to understand fear and you understand what it truly is you're up against, then you start to shine light into the darkness. And when you start to shine light into the darkness, there's nothing hiding. There's nothing hiding, there's nothing out to get us. And you realize the only thing that you've feared is your own mind, your own experience. And that's a really, really powerful place to find yourself when you discover that. When you discover that, that's one of the most powerful places. Doesn't mean you'll always see it. You're still going to be human. But if you've had realization into that point, it's like it's like, for example, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but the lady who came to work with us who had glaucoma, and she said, why are you here? Because I'm afraid of going blind. And we just said, it's impossible. It's impossible to be afraid of going blind. She went, what do you mean it's impossible? Of course I'm afraid of going blind. No, you're not. Are you blind now? No. So it doesn't exist. So you being blind doesn't actually exist right here, right now. But you're obviously experiencing some form of fear. So let's look at that. What does it look like to you going blind? And you get this description. Like, yeah, that sounds terrifying. That's what you're afraid of. You're afraid of how you think it's going to be. You're afraid of your own thought. That's a whole of the future. Anybody who's afraid of the future, that's the whole future. We've summed up there. That's it. The future doesn't exist. So therefore it's impossible to be afraid of it. But people kind of struggle with the notion of future. Like, what is the future? Where does it start? Where does it end? When is it? It's like, well, it's nowhere and it's nothing because it doesn't exist. It's just in the here and now. If you can find yourself in the here and now, you'll find that there is no future. So the only thing, again, you're afraid of is your own imagination. Again, same thing, but just an exceptionally powerful place to sit. I cut you up again, Carolina. Carry on.
Oh no.
You were talking about connection.
Do I?
You said you were talking about connection right at the
Oh,
beginning.
yes. Yeah, well, seeing people,
Seeing people, my apologies. Yeah, that was right. Yeah.
really seeing people.
Talk to us about
Um, well, I've just been a month away and with family, different members of my family, and living with them most of the time, which is different to just visit. You don't usually like go and live with your mom again or go and live with your brother again, or it's like uh but so it gives you a in a way um a different type of experience, and people can't hold the, oh, visits are here, so we're gonna, be who we are, who we think they should see, right?
that.
And I'll behave in the way I expect me to be seen. Um, and years before, I will just see something that maybe I thought I could help with, or I will find as a problem, and straight away I will try to help or do something, or oh, they seem tired. Should I maybe cook and get myself busy on trying to get them to be happier and more content with life. This year I found myself just sitting there and just watching. And seeing with the innocence things were created, and seeing the innocence what my thinking was being created, and being critical, or at another time I would have said, yeah, well, but maybe, you shouldn't be so hard on your child or whatever, because, as my role as an auntie, my role as a godmother auntie, that gives me two roles. Um, so and I
Twice they say.
twice.
Yeah.
And so, and I found myself saying something like, well, I'm nobody to come here, spend 10 days with you, and then tell you how you should uh, deal with your children. I don't live with them all the time. I don't have your relationship. I can only maybe if you want to, just listen and see if there's something I can think that would help if you're, or just stay there and wait and see if they wanted to talk about whatever is going on, you know? Or they would say like, oh, I can't go on with this. It's just like it's always the same. And just listen. Oh, tell me about it, right? No, no trying to fix, not getting busy or not seeing them because I was trying to stop myself feeling uncomfortable. I thought I had the answers for them. I thought I could come and do some magic, whatever.
I know something. I'm kind of a big deal.
You're
Yeah.
kind of a big deal.
No, it's that whole thing, though, isn't it? It's off Anchorman. I don't know if you've ever seen Anchorman. No, I'm kind of a big deal. No, it's that kind of attitude, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
you.
I know
Yeah.
something about life.
I have this little understanding.
Yeah.
Let
You
me
need
teach
it.
you what you don't know,
Yeah.
which is so disrespectful
Yeah.
to
And
not.
it's also the quickest way to trip yourself up.
Oh, and get a punch on the face. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like when people say, oh, it's just your thinking. You know, I
Yeah.
think it's the quickest way to get a punch on the nose. It's
Yeah.
like,
No, I don't
well,
like that. I don't like that statement.
no, right here, right now. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's my thinking. I don't care what you
No.
say. Like, this is not helpful. So, seeing that my helpfulness was that I didn't like the feeling of being in that situation or feeling that something wasn't as I would expect it to be, or I know better about being a parent, or
That's a really humble place to come from. And I think that's a beautiful trait. You know, more wise people throughout time have spoken about they know nothing. And like I often say, it's not what we don't know that trips us up, it's what we think we know that trips us up. You can't suffer what you don't know. It's impossible. You don't know it to suffer it. The only thing you can suffer is something you think you know. Do you know what I mean? And like when you start to realize like you live in an eternal now, that's a fact. That's one of the only things I actually know. You can't escape the now. Now is an eternal event. It's the moment of creation. If you want to find God, you won't find it in the future. You won't find it in the past. You won't find it in a book. You'll find it in an experience, and that experience will be in the now. That'll be where you find yourself. And it's like coming back to that place of I don't know and being able to see that for other people. Jen, I said this a couple of weeks ago in community group. Jen and I, people speak to us, I go, oh, I don't know. I'll say to somebody because Dad calls me and Jen good cop, bad cop. Jen's bad cop, I'm good cop. Um, I like to think. I don't think Dad sees it like that. But I'll say maybe I'll be a little bit straight with somebody because I could be quite straight. I could be quite blunt. Amanda probably wants to nod her head, but she's too shy to. There it is. Definitely nodding. I could be a bit blunt. Like I say to Jen sometimes, I think it's a bit hard then. And she'll just look at me and go, I don't know. It's like that. I don't know if you've ever heard that Chinese proverb. and it's about a farmer and his son. Have you ever heard it? And it goes like this. It goes, a young man was breaking in a horse, a stallion, and he left the gate open and it bolted, disappeared off into the countryside. And the neighbours got wind of this and came round to the old farmer, said, I heard your son lost a horse. That's bad news. And he just turned around to them and said, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll see. A few days later, the horse returns, but he's brought with him two mares. And the neighbours get wind of this and they walk round, see the old man farmer and say, I heard your horse came back, brought with it a couple of horses. That's good news. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll see. Anyway, so the young farm boy, he's breaking in these two new horses, and as he's riding, he falls off and breaks his leg. Neighbours get wind of this and come round and see the old man farmer and say, heard your son's broken his leg. And that's terrible news. The old man says, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll see. A couple of weeks later, the Chinese army come round looking for recruits to go to war. The young man can't go to war. He's got a broken leg. The neighbours get wind of this. They come round to the old man. Great news, your son can't go to war. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll see. You know, I love that. We worry about all kinds of things, but none of us actually know. We don't see the timeline. We don't see what's in front of us. You can't see that bit. You can't see how it's going to unfold. You don't get to see that. I mean, we all sit here right now as a couple of people who haven't got their faces on screen, but I'm looking at you lot that have got your faces on screen, and none of you look like you're in pain. And we've all been through trials and tribulations and hard times, but we're all right. You know, there's been times in our lives when we never in a million years thought we were going to be all right. And yet here we are. This is why I like to ask people right here, right now. Right here, right now. Don't go into this afternoon. Don't go into last week. I'm talking about right here, right now. How do you feel? And most people, when I do it, they go, well, I feel good. Isn't that what you're looking for? Wasn't that exactly what you were looking for in the first place? Have you noticed? Have you noticed you feel good? Are you still wrapped up in your problems? Because when you're feeling good, you've forgotten the problem. And when you've forgotten the problem, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist for you in your experience, in your reality. Therefore, it can't be part of your feeling state. It can't be part of how you feel. And it's not to say you turn a blind eye. It's not to say you ignore everything. You certainly don't. But you start to become more canny, more wise with what you let trouble you, what you let what you're going to give you, as Jen would say, what you're going to give your well-being away to. But yeah, I think it's a cool thing to be able to see people. And what you're describing there to me, Carolina, is you're just reserving judgment. Well, judgment is the root cause of suffering. I've done it. I have no doubt in my mind I'm going to do it again. Probably tomorrow, maybe even tonight. I don't know. But once you realize that you can get humble with yourself and you can apologize and yeah, start to live a more connected life again. When I say connected, I mean connected with other people and see people afresh. The thing is with family, they are the people we think we know the most. They're the people we think we know the best. You know, of all the people, your family, you have no doubt in your mind what your mum's like, what your dad's like, what your sister's like, what your brother's like, what your wife's like, what your kids like, what your auntie's like, what your uncle. You have no doubt in your mind. I fucking know them. Your brother, your mother-in-law, your brother-in-law, your sister-in-law, your blah blah blah. No, I know what they're like. Sister said something to me the other day during a bit of a heated conversation we're having. I'm like, honestly, is that honestly how you think I am? That's, really? That's you think I'm jealous of somebody? No, I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous of them. So I think you are. I really don't think I am. In fact, I know I'm not. But it was interesting, like for her to kind of see me through this lens, and for me to kind of go, what? You see me like that, and then it's like, well, I see you like this, and then you start to feel, well, I don't think I'm getting it entirely right either. Do you know what I mean? And once you start catching on to the trick of you're not getting it right, so draw a little diagram. Don't normally do diagrams. Oh, damn. Messed up already. There we go. This isn't my diagram, by the way. I got this from the Five Agreements. People go, it's Four Agreements. And I go, no, it's a different book. It's called the Five Agreements. And I think it's by a man called, anybody know? Five Agreements. Don Miguel, somebody or other. Mexican man, Mexican Toltec, wisdom. It's an awesome book. Some of it's some of it's a little bit kind of theoretical, but it's cool. Still some awesome stuff in it. And he described this, and I really like it. Don't know if you can see that. He described this. He said, right, I want you to imagine. You probably have to use your imagination with this because that's not the best drawing. He said, I want you to imagine, he said, I want you to imagine you walking into a big multiplex cinema. Tons of screens. All these screens as you walk in, there's a big corridor running right up the middle. He said, but when you walk in, he said, there's nobody there to take your money. He said, so you look around, there's nobody about. So, okay, well, I'll just go and see what's in screen one then. And you open up the door and you walk in, it's pitch black, there's something showing on the screen. And when you walk in, he said, you look around at the auditorium, he said, you can't see anyone. The place is empty. But they're showing this screen. And so you just sit down on the edge of one of the chairs and you watch and you're like, oh, oh, that's me. Oh, there's my daughter, there's my son, there's my dog, there's my mother, there's my father. Oh, that's us. Oh, oh, that's my life. Oh, they're playing my life. And then when you look a little bit closer, you see that, oh, God, I'm on the wrong side. You see that there's actually somebody sat right in the middle of the auditorium. There's only one person viewing it. So you sneak up alongside them, you have a look, and you're like, oh, it's me. And then you come out and you go, all right, what's in screen two? You walk in, it's pitch black, playing something on the screen. You sit yourself down on the edge of the chair. The auditorium's empty. And you look at this screen and you go, oh, it's the same as what's playing on screen one. Look, there's me, there's my sister, there's the dog, my daughter, there's my mum, there's my dad, whatever. But that's not me. That looks like me, but that's not me. And that's not mum, that's not dad, that's not my sister, that's not the dog, that's not my daughter, that's not my wife. That's not them. That's not how I am, that's not how they are. And you look closely, there's somebody sat in the auditorium. You sneak alongside them, they don't see you, and you have a look and you go, oh, it's my father. So with that, you go up and you walk through to screen three. Infinitum. Like, they're the people we think we know the most, but it's interesting because I know my mother and my father see me differently. I know my sister sees me differently to my mother and father, and I know Jenny sees me differently to my father, thank God. He's a big man. And I'm grateful that, my mum doesn't see me like Jenny sees me, or my sister, because that would just be wrong. But I know Lucia sees me differently to Jenny. And I know that everybody on the screen sees me differently to one another. And so it's like you start to realize that everybody you meet is a creation of your own mind. Again, we're back to that point. There is no escaping this point that we are living in the creation of our mind eternally in an experience we call our life. So everybody we meet is a character we assign to them by how we believe them to be, just like everything else. And I don't know, when you start to see that, again, it allows you to play with it. And I've mentioned this many times, but I had a very tricky relationship with my father until I realized his anger wasn't him being an arsehole. It was him suffering. And all of a sudden, I didn't see a pain in the ass trying to control my life, always got an opinion, doesn't actually like me, to seeing a man who hurts. And the moment I saw that, I interacted with him differently because he became a different man to me. He was a different man. Oh, he's not, nearly said the C word. He's not a C nut, as Jenny once called me. She went, you are a CNUT. I was like, what, a C nut? Yeah, he wasn't a C nut. He was a man who hurt. And obviously, when you meet somebody who hurts, you don't want to hurt them back. You don't want to hurt them more. You want to love them. And that was the shift, that was the change. I thought I knew my father. I thought I knew him. I didn't know him. But family, they are the people that we think we know the most, and they're the people we are most rigid on in our creation. We are not prepared to create something new very often regarding our families because we already know them. I always remember Jen doing some retreat and they were doing this deep listening conversation, and Jen and her sister were last to stand up, and they didn't want to do it with each other, but all they were left with was each other. And they're like, oh God, do you? So Jen and her sister sat down, and by the end of it, Jen and her sister are in tears. For the first time, they actually listened to each other without the contamination of their judgment. They didn't listen to the assigned character that they had already created for each individual. And both of them ended up in tears. and said how nice it was to meet each other. They were like 24 and 27, 25, 26, 28, 29, something like that. They're in their early, like mid to late 20s. They've grown up with each other since children. But they finally got to see each other, minus the judgment. And then you start to meet life in its truest state when you start to meet life without the judgment. It doesn't come in a pre-packaged like box, prejudged, doesn't life? It's a neutral event. The judgment takes place within an individual. That's why everybody sees everything differently. Yeah, there's a lot of power in what you brought to this, Carolina, for people to, especially when it comes to like family feuds and stuff like that, and families not forgiving one another or forgiveness. And we know plenty of families who hold on to such terrible grudges and they don't communicate or they pretend they don't exist. And when they speak of them, they speak about them in such vile ways. But it's because they think they know them. They already know. They're not prepared to see anew. That would be weakness, that would be weakness. I'm not weak. No, it'd actually be greater strength. Depends on how you want to live life. Do you want to live with life through animosity and hatred and judgment, or do you want to live it through peace and love? It's your choice. Nobody's got a gun to your head. Have you got any more to share, Carolina, on that?
I think for
Well,
me, Dave, it was what you were saying a couple of weeks ago. It's about seeing, and I don't know whether you just said this because I was just upstairs, but you you said a couple of weeks ago about seeing somebody fresh, seeing somebody without kind of remembering what they were previously.
yeah,
And for me, ever since you've said that, it's stuck in my head.
holding people to moments in time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was something Jen brought
yeah.
to me when we'd had an argument. Yeah,
Because before I used to do it all the time.
yeah,
I used to do it all the time, and now I'm doing it less and less. At
yeah,
work, I'm going to work and I'm seeing people, not what I imagined they were like yesterday, but imagining what they're like in the moment.
yeah. And how do your interactions, what happens with your interactions when you do that?
They're completely different.
For the better or for the worse?
For the better. I mean that there is a moment where I'm kind of thinking, well, hang on a minute. Yesterday you were like this with me, and then I'm like, hang on a minute, come on.
I mean, we can hold grudges. It's our right to do that.
Yeah, but it's kind of we don't have to.
Correct.
It's not kind of the way we have to do it.
No, it's not conducive to a nice life.
Yeah. It's like for me, it's like when Carolina came back from Argentina, it was like, okay, is she going to be the same person as when she went? No. Am I going to be the same person? No. And it's about seeing the person in front of you.
Yeah. If you can do that, and it takes a level of humility to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can do that, then you can start afresh. You can rebuild a life together.
Yeah.
You can't rebuild a life together if you're going to hold on to the past and hold each other accountable to all the things that have been said throughout. And especially when people, what people tend to hold on to more often than not is the negative and what they said in that blazing argument. You know, that's when people are at their worst. Why would we hold somebody to their worst version of themselves? That's not somebody at their best. It's not when people speak the most truth because they said it louder, it has to be more true. No, if that was true, then Lucia would be right about everything.
Isn't she?
No, no.
That's what you think.
Well, doesn't appear so. No.
The thing is that that's the thing. Whenever you have an argument with someone, it's always the kind of the negative that you'll remember. It's never
Yeah.
the kind of the good in that argument, because, or not, I say good in that argument, but it's never the good that comes out of it. It's always the kind of the negative that you'll remember. Or we had an argument because of this, this, and this.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of the time people then put up there with a conversation about barriers, which isn't really something that I don't really have a lot of barriers. Personally, I don't live life with all my barriers for people. Keep your barriers. Not barrier. Barrier is the wrong word. What's the word am I looking for? Boundaries. My apologies. Boundaries. That's when we start putting our boundaries in place.
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, I don't live with a lot of boundaries for people. I don't need to. I am prepared to give people the benefit of the doubt and move on. Never used to, but it is something I tend to live like now. I'm not one of these people who has loads of boundaries. They're not important to I know there's loads of YouTube talks about how important boundaries are. For me, they're not. Personally, they're not. A boundary would be something that I would put into place to protect myself. But what am I really protecting myself from? I'm protecting myself from my own thoughts. I'm protecting myself from my own feelings. I'm big enough and daft enough to realize that's not true. That's true. That's what I'm really protecting myself from. Sorry, I'm protecting myself from my own thoughts and feelings. The only thing I can ever experience is myself. Doesn't mean I don't hear somebody yelling at me. It doesn't mean I don't hear somebody give me shit, or when I'm driving, somebody give me a finger. I can see all that. However, that does not create my experience of life. That doesn't create how I feel. I can look at the people who used to give me the finger, I would chase them down. I would pull them out of their cars back in the day. I'd open up their doors. If they hit a traffic light, I'd get out of my van, I'd walk over, open up their doors, I'd grab them, I'd pull them out of the car. I was a lunatic. And now I can see people who flick the finger at me, and it's like, well, you don't even know me. It's not personal. You haven't got a problem with me. You don't even know who I am. So it's clearly not personal about me. You're just in a really bad space right now. And you know what, dude? I've done that. It's shit. Send your love, buddy. Send your love. Do you know what I mean? And it's a humbling game, this life, if you want it. And I would suggest anybody who wants to have a nicer life. Like I always say, no wise man came into the world and said, be arrogant as fuck. Be arrogant. Don't be open. Know it all. You already know it all. Know it all. No, all the wise men people came into this world and they said, get humble. No, you know nothing. Get humble.
When you can do that with the people that you think you know, you wake up every day, every moment, to the possibility of seeing things afresh, like seeing, just going like really curious, like probably Lucia does. It's like,
Mm.
right. Imagine if we had no long-term memory. And every time we see your partner, you see your mother, you just like, hello, right? Want to know more? Like, who are you? Like, right?
Yeah.
Because I think is that sort of thing that we do when the phone is ringing, you look at the phone and it's whoever, and you go, oh, I know what they're calling, I know what they're going to say, I know what's going to happen, and I know, and I don't know. Right? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen every time Wayne comes back from work, opens that door. I don't know. I don't know.
But you also don't know who I'm gonna be, is
Exactly.
what I'm trying to say here.
And how I'm going to
Mm.
perceive you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, though it sounds horrible, it's like I'm having a relationship with myself, with my thinking, with everybody, right? It's like
Mm.
That's right.
the images that uh, you were saying about the book, which is, by the way, Don Miguel Ruiz and Don Jose Ruiz, the fifth, I think.
Five agreements. Yeah. You said that very well.
As Spanish is my first language.
I know. And
As
South
in,
American Spanish at that.
so like, but the thing is, if I don't know who you're gonna be or how you're gonna be or how I'm gonna perceive you, I don't know how you're gonna perceive me every single time in every single moment. The freedom and the possibilities are,
It's a playground, isn't it? At that point, you start to live in a playground.
Yeah.
Which really is what life is. It's a playground. One of my favorite Sid Banks quotes is, "You come to this world and you have the capacity to create any reality you so wish. There is no greater gift in this universe than that." But we don't know we're creating reality. We always go point to reality, and people point outside. They go, "Oh, it's here. It's all around us." No, that's not what you experience. No, your reality is because of your consciousness. And all of a sudden people make that switch from outside to inside. Oh fuck, do you know what? I hadn't noticed that this is what happened for me. I never noticed there was this thing called experience. I mean, obviously I knew, I heard about it, but I never considered it. That the only thing I ever experience is experience itself. And at that point, you start to see, when you start to wake up to experience, the fact of experience, and experience is all your senses and all your feelings and all your whatever consciousness is doing in that moment, all your thinking and thought you're aware of and thought you're unaware of, your conscious, your subconscious, and beyond all that. You start to realize that the experience you live in is actually a very magical, precious thing. It's a precious thing. It's a mystical thing. Nobody can know it. You can't know yourself. People want to know themselves. No, that can never be known, because to know is to condense infinity into a singularity. And that singularity is a potential as opposed to the infinite potential of who and what consciousness is. Can't know it. So therefore you will always be a mystery. But once you start to play with that mystery and you start to notice its laws and you start to notice how it works and the universality of its characteristics, it's like then you start to discover something so magical about the mundane nature of me, just little old me. And once you discover that, you find that space and you find something beyond anything you can comprehend. I mean, anybody who has spiritual experiences and they get asked, could you describe it? They go, no. I want to, but I can't because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the realms of linearity um and like something you can comprehend. You know, anybody who has spiritual experience, they'll be like, I can't talk about it, I can't explain it to you. Why? Because there is no words in the human language that can describe the magnitude of what life is. They will use words such as love. They will use words such as unknowable, you know, and perfection and compassion and love, loving back to love again. But that is truly what we are, every single one of us. But because we are that space from which reality is born, it's very easy for us to get tangled up in those realities and start to see them as fundamental, who we are, and real. When in actual fact, they're temporary manifestations of consciousness of the mind. And the more we can identify with the temporary nature as opposed to the permanent nature, then the more fluid we become. And then getting you back to where you started off, Carolina, which was seeing your family without judgment. You know, you find yourself back in that space for meeting life afresh and meeting yourself afresh. And when you meet yourself afresh, then go play. Do you heard anything?
I'm the very start, really.
We're just talking about at this present moment, we're talking about seeing people. Like when you get to see people afresh. And Carolina was saying about when she went to a family over in Argentina and all the judgments of perhaps a year ago should have been like, don't do that with your kid. You could do that better. You could do this, try that. And she just sat back and just observed and saw them afresh. I'm guessing it was a nicer trip.
It was a very interesting trip.
Yeah.
It was a nicer trip, yeah. It was so I didn't stop seeing them with with my judgment. I mean, there were
Okay.
moments I saw them more afresh, but I was more conscious of my judgment at many times. And
Nice.
hi, Jen. It's so nice to see you. And
Been a long time.
it's been a long time. And I just want to say like how generous you guys are, like to create this space. And well, I've used a lot of the time of this, and it's so nice to see you and hear you, and because of seeing people, and there's other beautiful people here, and I would love to just step back and watch and hear, and if anybody has something else to.
Cool. Carolina, thank you for opening that up. That was beautiful.
Yeah, you weren't sure where to go tonight, were you?
No. You never do. I never do know. It's like we do this weekly, and it's like, well, if you're doing something weekly, like, where the hell do you go this week? You know, but the beautiful thing is, how long we've been doing this now? 2014? Since 2014. So it's 12 years. It's been every single week somebody had brought something different. And I think that's a really cool thing. You know, it's been really cool for me as somebody who's I won't call myself a teacher. I'm somebody who's interested in consciousness. I'm interested in reality. I'm interested in life. I'm interested in people. I'm interested in spirit. And so getting to meet all these different people who bring different things each week, and meeting all these different kind of people presenting all these different kinds of problems and all these circumstances that are so alien to my life, and it's really kind of helped for me to narrow down how much more narrow and this isn't a narrow-mindedness. It isn't like a narrow-mindedness of which we can experience when we become very narrow-minded and set in our ways. But what I mean is it narrows down for me truth, what's real. When you can share the same conversation with an addict that's somebody in prison who's really struggling about being in prison, to somebody who's got anxiety or an eating disorder or just curious, and you can share a conversation and watch all of them go, fuck, and their lives get better. Like, there's that whole saying, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. And I kind of, I agree with that. But if I didn't know better and somebody said, there's this thing that you can start to kind of get a feel for, and I don't know how it works, but your life just gets better. What do you need to do? Not a lot, just listen. And you'll start to feel different. I'd go, nah, too good to be true. You got to work on yourself. You got to fix this. You got to fix that. Do you know? Life's complicated. Reality is complex. And like when you realize it isn't as complex as what we've thought. Mental health and mental illness are not really that complex. They're actually really simple. And it boils down to perception. It boils down to understanding. Boils down to noticing. All right. Mwah! Love that, Carolina. Thank you, love. All right. Does anybody else want to say anything? Don't make me put you on the spot. Amanda, what did you want to say, love? You're muted.
Okay. Okay, now I'm unmuted.
Now you're unmuted. Go for it, love.
Oh, just what I said before about yeah. Yeah. So today was the day where a thing that I've been terrified of for 5 years got sorted out. And I know. And it's like it is actually a really massive thing. I can't believe that it's sorted out. But yeah, I have really mixed feelings about it as well, because I allowed it to make me really, really, really terrified for 5 years, and it actually I totally made it up, because it kind of wasn't what I thought it was. So
Was it not? Was it not?
No, it actually
It
wasn't.
wasn't. Was it
No,
not? No.
no, no, no. So anyway, so I spent the rest of the day really having to stop myself from trying to find reasons why that might not be true. And I did have to sort of sit on my hands for about half an hour, because I just thought, oh, so all these things that I've just been told, I'm just going to get on my phone and have a look on the internet and see if I've got more follow-up questions for that. And it was really hard, but I just stopped myself, because But I've a horrible feeling that tomorrow I'll have to stop myself, and the next day I'll have to stop myself, and I'm just hoping that eventually I'll wear myself out, and I might just forget about it and move on to something else. I'm really hoping because it was really hard to not double, triple check stuff today, and I thought, or you could just accept it and like go, oh, that was really good. Now I can think about something else or not, or do something else. But it was a struggle. It was a struggle to not let myself do that. So yeah, that's what happened to me today. So in one way, it was a really fantastic day. Like a day that I didn't think would happen. And I didn't think that would happen either. I didn't think what would happen today happened at all. But yeah, but it has. And instead of being all like, hooray, this has released me, this is amazing, I went, oh, I'm just going to have to check what that man said and I'm just going to have to do. And I thought, that's really disappointing. But I suppose on a non disappointing side of it, I didn't. So that's positive. Yeah, there you go. That's my ramble.
I've got rid of my worry. Shit. Now what am I
Yeah,
going to do?
yeah. No, I
I've
do
worked
have
5 years
others.
at that.
No, I know. I know. Yeah, it is. It's quite impressive. I know. I do have others. Another one kind of just leapt in, not about that, about something
Oh,
else.
thank God.
No, I know. And I thought, oh, am I going to worry about this now? And I thought, no, I'm not actually. I'm not going to worry about it. So there you go.
Can I ask you?
I'm not cured though, obviously.
Yeah, but
It's
there's
like a
nothing to
daily
cure.
battle.
There's nothing to
Yeah.
cure.
Well, no, but yeah.
There's
So
nothing
there
to
you go.
cure. There really is nothing to cure.
Chronic worry.
Chronic worry is not something to cure.
Mm.
It's not an illness, love.
A habit.
It's a habit of thought.
It is a habit. You're right. You're
It's just a
right. It
habit
is
of
a
thought.
habit. It is. Yeah, you're right.
So that's nothing to. How can you cure? It's not. You don't cure a habit. You you incite your way out of it. Like anybody who has a smoking habit, they're like, yeah, I need to stop smoking. I need to stop smoking. Then one day they go, right, stopping smoking. They have a new thought, and then it's game over. Then they can stop smoking. But as long as they don't have that insight, they will go, yeah, I know I need to stop smoking. I need to stop drinking. I know I need to stop drinking. But until you have insight and see things differently, which you can't incite your way out of illness, or maybe you can. I think you possibly can, actually. I don't think it's actually a true statement. Um, but you can certainly incite your way out of all of that. When I say insight, I mean when you have a new thought about it, it appears different, which is
Yeah.
so I'm curious to know. Have you anything you want to say? You just
No, I was just going to say, you've you said there was another worry that you could have picked up today, and you didn't. And I think just being grateful for those moments where something you'd normally do, like, oh, I actually don't have to worry about that anymore. What else can I worry about? And you didn't go with it. Like, just be grateful. Like, cool. Could have massively
Yeah.
gone off on what that one today. And I
Yeah.
could have then gone on, mental researching everything. But you noticed, and I think we want it to be like effortless or
a fix.
seamless. But the fact that you've noticed and the fact that you're kind of light-hearted about it, talking to us, the fact that you're on group and sharing, I just think notice all of that. And I think now you give Amanda a hard time. Um,
I probably deserve it though.
tough love maybe.
Tough love.
But yeah, just notice those things, and that's enough. And then our mind
Yeah.
wants to go, but what about if I do it tomorrow? It's like, no, just as enough today and what you've seen. and be grateful for that.
Yeah.
And habits can change in a moment. Habits of a lifetime can change in a moment. But we fix habits in place as a something, or
Yeah.
I'm a chronic worrier, and that sounds really serious. When you're like, oh, I've got a habit of worrying. Do you know what I mean? It feels very different. And many
Yeah.
people have habits of worrying over different things. Things that would worry me wouldn't worry you, and same with everybody. But we all think we're different.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I did think I was talking to my mum actually earlier, and I said to her, there is a difference, I think, in the way that I'm starting to understand it, because I think she would have, and other people definitely would have said stuff to me like, go and row, that'll take your mind off it. Go and do something that'll, but and I said, and I have been doing all of these things for a really long time, but I just realized that I was just giving myself a break. I was literally just going, oh, here's a 3 hour slot where I can just turn my brain off that. And that's okay, because I will be able to go back to it afterwards and make up the time. I think that's what I've been doing.
Well, you and I had a really nice conversation on the retreat because Amanda came to a couple of days. She could only make a couple of. She's a teacher. Could only make a couple of days, and one of you said something really cool, which is something I totally got because it's something I've done. And you said it's interesting because I thought that if I worried about it,
Yeah.
I was taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Me worrying is me taking it seriously. The issue is serious and I'm taking it seriously so long as I'm worrying about it.
Yeah.
And I was reminded that point of a young girl who, anybody who's seen any of our online retreats,
Drink.
yeah, can you have some water, please? Might have seen Rachel, who was a South African Jewish girl, beautiful lass. She was only, I think she's 17 when she came onto our retreat. We got her as a guest speaker, and because she'd had such a shift, and she told us at the time when she was at school, and they were talking about caring for one another, like schools do now. How can we care for one another? How do we, and they come up with all these ideas that I think are helpful a lot of the time. And one of the ideas that people came up with, and everybody agreed with it apart from Rachel, was that to show you care, you have to worry. And Rach said, I disagree with that. Thanks, love. I disagree with that. She said, I don't worry about people anymore. She said, but because I don't worry about them, it leaves more room for me to care about them and love them. I actually can love them. I said, when I'm loving them, I'm caring more. And she said, and do you know what? Even my teacher said I was wrong. In order to show you are taking it seriously, you have to suffer. You have to go into suffering. Well, no, you don't. You don't at all have to suffer. I mean, more often than not, when people go into this suffering, they get themselves into such a state they never solve the problem in the first place. Do you know what I mean? They just put themselves into some mad case of paralysis, and life becomes so fucking difficult they can't deal with anything. No, that's not useful. That is not a useful space
No.
to be living from. A useful space to be living from is common sense. And when you can look at life through common sense, suddenly things become really kind of possible and solutions are feasible and you get shit done better. Yeah, the worry is not, people think that, like you said, and I got it. If you're worrying about it, you're taking it seriously, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But
I really think I thought that it was going to positively affect what happened as well, though.
Talk
I
to me
was
about that. Talk to us about that. What do you mean?
Well, no, I was talking to a friend the other day about it, and someone who I think is a really happy-go-lucky person. She never ever lets things make her visibly miserable, actually, ever. So I think, God, how do you do that? But I told her that thing. I said, do you know, I said this thing. I realized this thing about me, and she laughed and she said, "Oh, I know exactly what you mean." I said, "No, you don't. You don't know what I mean because you're not like this." She said, "No, no." She said, "I definitely used to do this thing where I used to imagine the worst case scenario for every single thing, because I thought that if I thought it, it would make it would not happen." And we both had a really good laugh about that.
Yeah.
Like she thought she had to think about like the worst, like if anything was bothering her, she just used to like go down every single scenario to create like worst case. And then that would make her feel better because she'd be like, oh, and if because I've done that, that means it won't happen.
You
And
see,
that's mad, isn't it? When you say it, when you actually say that out loud. And I thought that's really interesting because and I can't remember his name, but I was really laughing because I laughed when it's Dan, isn't it? Was it Dan?
Ben?
No,
Ben,
Ben. When he said it, he said that. He said that he spent years torturing himself thinking about the worst case scenario, thinking
yeah,
that he would have planned. Yeah, and I thought, oh, it's like a really common thing then.
yeah, it's not.
Yeah. So now that's two people I've had that conversation with who've actually gone, oh yeah, we do that. Do
Has
that.
anybody here not done that?
Willingly tortured yourself.
Well, like dreamt up worst case scenarios, thinking that perhaps they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I've done it. What was that kid you told me about? It was on one of your retreats, and that lady said that her son was getting ready.
Oh, it was a Sunday and her son had been sick in the day. And then that night she went into his room and he was like crying. No, he went into her room and he was crying and going, and she's like, "What is wrong?" And he went, "I'm getting ready to be upset tomorrow in case I'm sick at school." And she said she just burst out laughing. And then he actually burst out laughing. And they had a conversation and she realized how many times has she prepared herself to feel bad in the future or to be upset in the future or to worry in the future and ruin the moment when nothing's happening. But she saw it so visibly in her son because it seemed hilarious to her, like this idea that he might not even be sick the next day, but he was going to get the worrying out about it now. And she saw the insanity of herself and the insanity of humanity, because we all do that.
Mm.
I used to do it to protect myself.
And what were you protecting yourself from?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I used to kind of do it, yeah, to protect myself because if I kind of walked it through in my head, then when it happened, I was ready for it. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
How often did it show up like what you thought?
Never.
What is the saying? I've had a lot of worries in
Got
my
99 problems, but
no, I've
no.
had a lot of worries in my life. Most of them never happened or something.
Yeah, something.
Most of which never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problems or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of them never happen.
But it's that kind of protective mechanism we put in place.
Yeah, but I do like to ask that question because people talk about, protecting myself, but from what? You ask that question, and the amount of confused looks you get back, you're like, I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? We're protecting ourselves. We're defending. I've got a dear friend of mine who said, "I've got this protective suit of armor on me." Should and it really served me. I just asked her like, and that suit of armor's protecting you from what? and she couldn't answer it. But she was dead proud of this suit of armor. You know, she was willingly telling me all about it. I'm like, what's it protecting you from? And she couldn't answer the question. You know, and you boil it down, and what people are trying to protect themselves from is feeling bad.
Yeah.
That's it. A feeling. They're trying to protect themselves from a feeling. Why are we afraid of our feelings? What the fuck happened there? Why did we become so afraid of our feelings? Feelings are
No.
they're a reflection of our perspective of our life. So it's a reflection of our perspective that we're creating about anything. That's what a feeling is. It's a you call it the physical,
Visible
the visible, you say them,
face of thought.
the visible face of thought. Yeah. Because more often than not, you don't know what you're thinking, but your feeling is telling you information about how you perceive it. It's not giving you information about the world or people or anything like that. It's giving you information about how you're perceiving that, what you're creating in that moment. What you're creating is your experience.
Amanda, I think what you brought, it's so helpful. Because I guarantee that if we go and ask everybody around here, probably they will all agree that they're doing exactly the same. And we all think it's just us.
Yeah.
There are two things that came to my mind. One is that I started seeing that when things happen in the moment, so I'm worried about something, but actually, when that happens, I have the tools to deal with that in the moment, which I don't have them thinking
No.
about that.
Correct.
So, so now I trust as much as I'm like, "Oh, this is coming, it's gonna, I don't know that." I just, when it happens, if it happens, I'll know.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we have this habit, as Jen was saying, as to repeat a way of doing things, because so far it's like, well, I've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a bad habit.
you know, it seems that so far it's kept me alive, so maybe. But you know, you ask Wayne and he says, well, it just helped me with absolutely nothing. None of that happened. We're not used to have, so you receive the news. I don't know, I'm just making it up in my mind, but you receive the news about these 5 years of worrying about this and all these problems, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And in that moment where this brain, your mind didn't have had less space used with worry. It's
Yeah.
so unusual. We feel so uncomfortable because it's so new, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to have your full fulfillment and happiness right now and have it all? It's like, I would like to, but give me a minute. I'm not. It's okay. I'll have it at some point, but not.
No, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for it to not be a problem, actually. And I'm still sort of not. I'm still trying to like convince myself, hey, you can use this area like normal. You don't have to tiptoe through it. Oh, actually, you can keep the door open. I haven't. I still haven't because I'm like, oh, I'll just make sure. Let me just see what it's going to be like tomorrow. And you're absolutely right. I did feel like that. I thought I'm not sure I'm actually ready to give it up yet. I don't know. Yeah.
That's a
Somebody
good idea.
convinced me. No, it's like I'm like
Go.
convince me that it is actually okay. Like, no, I need some more convincing. It's like, yeah, no, you're right. I think my brain did have a moment where it was just going, hang on. No, there's a question up here. Oh, let me go and Google this. That answer sounds a bit dodgy. let me go and double check that. And then I was like, no, you're not looking.
Having
You're going to
peas,
try and accept it. It's really hard.
having peas in your head
Yeah,
and feeling calm for 5 seconds was too much. It was like, better the devil I
Mm,
know that the
That's the thing,
that
isn't
has
it?
just arrived.
That's
yeah,
that is the sentence. Better the devil you know, and that's how so many people live their lives. Like it's like I often say. I don't even know if this is relevant, but it's come to me. Like when it comes to addiction, the greatest stumbling block anybody, and you could say that your worry about this has become a bit of an addiction.
yeah,
And the greatest stumbling block for an addict is a thought, and that thought being, what will my life look like without this?
yeah,
Who am I without this? And that thought will keep people stuck in addiction
yeah,
if people believe it.
I was thinking the fact that you saw the other day that you thought worry was necessary to show that you're taking things seriously. So that in itself, like one of the bottom bricks has been taken out of that story. So it's gonna
yeah,
unsettle everything
Mm.
because if that is logical, that makes sense. So you can let yourself off the hook. Like if you
yeah,
believe that to look like I'm taking this seriously, I need to worry, it's important. Do you see what I mean? So if you've seen through that, like you've seen through the bottom layer of the pyramid or the house of cards,
yeah,
it's going to start wobbling
yeah,
and you're going to start having new experiences and it'll be uncomfortable and unsettling because you've had a normal in your life that's no longer normal. And I think the less we try and do with that and just allow it to unfold and notice. And I think we think if we learn something or we see something, we're somehow going to just have nice feelings or, take away all of the thinking about it. But actually, you've had a raise in awareness, and that can only take you in a new direction. And it might happen quicker than you want it to, and you'll be like, whoa, I'm all over the place because you'll start noticing all the other untruths that you've been living out of that have kept you trapped, that you thought kept you safe.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that one in itself is huge
It is.
because so many other things are built on top of it.
yeah,
And I think not trying to predict the future, not trying to imagine how you're going to be tomorrow or
yeah,
how it's going to change or how I'm going to be the next day. And like the story of this is going to be hard, this feels hard. Like all of those things are just they're made up in this moment. Like that new thought that popped into your mind of, whoa, I've believed worrying shows I'm taking it seriously. That wasn't hard. You didn't effort to that. It just popped in. And that's the nature of our minds. As they start to settle, new, more helpful thought pops in and starts moving our life in a different direction. And
yeah,
we think it has to be more difficult than that. We think it has to happen on our time schedule that we have. But I loved everything you've said because actually it's very honest.
Yeah.
And you can see you have been slightly like unsettled by this because it's
yeah,
not normal. It's not normal for like the last 5 years has been quite predictable in your mind. Whereas now,
yeah,
actually, I don't know.
The thing is, you put yourself out there. Like lately, I'm really proud of you for how you put yourself out there, and I've seen you shift an awful lot in this last month. Like you're very different. You're open,
yeah,
and I think what you're starting to see now is you're starting to see, like Jen said, a bit of an acceleration in things you've worried about something 5 years, and you came back off the retreat, and one of the first things you did was you you organised somebody to come around and solve a problem for you, and and to me, I know that was a big deal,
yeah,
and it was a big deal, and you could call that brave. There's a real bravery in that. Um, I would love to know. I'd love to know what has it taught you, Amanda? What 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 can you glean from what's happened? Is there anything you've gleaned from it?
oh,
I know I've totally put you on the spot and I'm giving you any time
yeah.
to think about it.
Um, I don't know. I'm still trying to sort
Sorry.
of, I don't know. I don't know.
You can text tomorrow.
Yeah,
It's
I'd love to
just,
know. Yeah, I'd love to know
yeah,
what you.
I mean, my initial feelings were, were really quite negative ones because I just thought, there you go. There you go. You've wasted 5 years of your life living a certain way and you didn't need to. And then I thought, I'm not going to get upset about that
Well done.
because that, it wasn't all bad, but well, it's tough luck, isn't it? Never mind. You'll just have to chalk it up to experience, try not to do it again. That's as far as I've got, really.
Well, there's the learning then.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have to do that again. Maybe you'll notice I'm driving myself mad. Have I done this
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
Like,
How did
it's
the last
learning.
one turn out? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I hope so. I think I would. Yeah. I mean, I
I
would
think so.
say, I always think like with kids, I've said this to you before, I know about, you know, um, like with young people, I listen to myself sometimes with them and I think, why can't you take your own stupid advice for God's sake? Like you can tell them, you can't tell yourself. Or you tell yourself, but you don't believe yourself, but you expect other people to believe you, you know. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think I just have to be, I'm gonna have to be more insistent with myself that I have learned a lesson and yeah, I have to do what I would say to the kids, you know, like you've learned that lesson. It was a hard one. Don't do it again.
Yeah, you're not good at predicting the future.
No,
And
no,
I'm not.
Like,
I'm
can I
not.
something?
Yeah, look.
Um, I don't know what the situation was or what the problem was or what was sorted out today. But if I were your best friend or somebody you really like, or just me today, and I'll come and say, well, this happened, it's over. Would you have said to me what you just said about what you said to yourself? This sounds very complicated. Would you have said to me, well, you shouldn't have been for 5 years. Like, you shouldn't have done that. You should learn about this. Would you?
no. Well, no, I would be a bit nicer about it, but
A bit nicer, much nicer, or
oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm very good at.
so
Um,
what gives you the right to treat lovely Amanda that way?
you're right. I know. I have been told that I'm exceptionally good. In fact, my stepdad once said to me, "I know what I'm going to buy you for Christmas," and I said, "What's that?" And he said, "A really big stick, so you can keep hitting yourself over the head with it."
But it's another
So
way of
I
putting
know,
yourself,
I
right?
know what you're saying. Yeah, I know.
So,
Yeah,
and I'm only being blunt and horrible saying this to you this way because um I could
I,
see myself on what you're saying, like, oh, I should always tell myself something that I should be doing better, and just like it's the same about worrying. Like worrying makes me a better person because I'm taking care of things. Now, what I've learned from what you said today, and I wanted to thank you for this gift, is that when you were talking about worries, I was thinking, oh, I worry about feeling the things that I'm think are gonna hurt or are gonna be horrible. I didn't realize about my worry about feeling the good things, about handling when those things that you wish happen or really good things happen. I could be so afraid as to try to dismiss it, that beautiful feeling of something nice happening, and go back into worrying.
Mm,
Does that make sense? Like
mm.
you just,
Can you say that another
Yeah.
way for me?
yeah,
Can you say that another way for me, please?
I didn't realize until you were talking, Amanda. I thought my worries were about feeling things when bad things happen. And I'm trying to put this into words.
Mm.
I didn't realize how afraid I am about feeling positive, life-changing things when that so new happens and you're like, it's like a hot potato in your hands. It's like
You feel at sea.
you don't realize that it's so new, it feels wrong, it feels like a problem, it feels that's what I
Uncomfortable.
Unfamiliar.
comfortable, yeah, uncomfortable. That's exactly it.
It's like when Jen said about the cards, you remove one card and that's it, everything kind of falls. I remember when I had an insight once and it was, I'm not broken. I've had a disability and I've got disability, but I'm not broken. For me, it was literally like being at sea. And when I was shown that, I felt like I was drowning. But then afterwards, sitting with that, realizing that I'm not broken, it was incredible. And yeah, there are times where I'm kind of, oh, my blooming disability. But you know what? That's who I am. And then there's times where I can be somebody completely different. We make up who we are every single moment of every single day.
Mhm. Yep. Beautiful, dude. We make up who we are every single moment of every single day. Yep.
Can you imagine how many things I've been closing the door to that are good things? But I'm afraid of letting them in my life. Like you, Amanda, opened the door for me to see that today. So thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you all of you for sharing that. I think
I chased Amanda up. I was like, I saw you weren't on. So I was like,
Yeah.
coming on.
Thank you for coming on, love. Thank you for coming on.
No, thank
Well,
you.
I think this is one of the things. It's like I'm going to use a word that often puts people off, but it's just a word. It's like,
It's not a swear word, is it?
no, I used the C nut word before.
Or have you?
Yeah, but I didn't use the C nut.
Well, I'm sure I heard Lucia say F sake the other day. So I think you've said that a couple of times.
It come from me.
No, she didn't actually swear. She said F sake.
Did she?
Yeah, which I think you've said a few times.
I don't think she normally listens to me. I would say because she doesn't swear and she doesn't have a
No.
northern accent.
More than you know.
Yeah, which must be. But I don't know. I don't even know if this is even relevant. But it feels like when you start to let your spirit back into your life, and I'm going to just sound like pretty words, but so let me quantify that statement. Let me articulate, I hope, what I mean by that. I know people who are such devout materialists. They live in such a material paradigm, as in physicality, as in we are just a bunch of chemicals it all works out like Darwin said. The only laws in this universe are Newton's laws. Everything I was taught at school is believed. Everything they are told is the truth from other people. Like, I wouldn't describe them necessarily as critical thinkers. But I do notice that those people often seem to, and I speak for myself. I speak for myself because I'm just describing who I've been. That there was a void in my life of meaning. There was a void in my life of joy. There was a void in my life of magic and of awe. There was a void in my life of deep connection. There was a void in my life of infinity. And I feel like when we can have these kind of conversations and people can start to notice that they can start to, and I say this over and over again, what is this conversation about? It's about noticing, full stop, nothing more. It doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you anything greater. It doesn't make you more spiritual. It doesn't do anything like that. It's not, no, you are already all those things. The thing is, have we noticed? Have we noticed we create our own experience of life? Well, if that's true, then is that really just a chemical process, or does it require an energy behind the chemical? Because nothing can move or be created without energy. So, what's that energy? What is that nothingness? What is that thing that's unquantifiable? What is that thing that you cannot pin down? What is consciousness? What is spirit? What is it? It's like, but it seems like when people start to understand that they're creating their experience of life. Somehow there is this magical infinite force, and we've given it the name thought, or we've given it the name mind, whatever you want to call it. Thought being the potential from the infinite of mind. Like, once people start to cotton on to that fact and they start to realize that these aren't man-made things, they're not attributes that mankind dreamt up for itself, but they are attributes of all things, all of life, all of the universe. Every single atom is a conscious state that is aware that it's being observed, and it's the only reason it collapses into particle. And when it ceases being observed, it goes back to being wave. Like, so every single particle is ultimately aware and knows what to do. So consciousness is ultimately just teeming through everything. There is only consciousness. It's like once it starts to be reintegrated back into our lives, it just feels like you don't become less human, you become more human. I love how you started this out, Carolina. You started it out with a very humble observation, then you got even more humble about it as you went through. And it's like, yeah, it kind of it introduces to you humility. And as you start to kind of sort the wheat from the chaff, and you start to see the truth from the illusion. What is truth? Truth is that is applicable to all. What is illusion? Well, that's applicable to an individual. It doesn't mean that it's an illusion that Amanda needed something doing to a house. No, Amanda needed something doing to a house. However, the experience that she lived in when I found out about it was a very different experience to mine. And people could go, well, it's not your house. Well, no, it's not. But I also look at that and I don't see what Amanda sees. So therefore, there are two different realities at play at that point. Both appear real. So it's like, then you times it over the whole of mankind, 8 billion people. But I don't know, it seems like we have an opportunity at this point to notice. I'm curious what Amanda's going to come back to us with it, like over the next few days and weeks, like, because I hope you'll come back. I hope you'll come back to this community
will.
group. Cool.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
And see what you notice about what you've learned, because Carolina is just one person on the screen who's gone, it's really helpful what you've shared with us. You know, and this is how it works. We all think we're different. We're not. You know, we worked all over the world with all different kinds of people, and if it's shown as one thing, it doesn't matter what color you are, what religion you are, where you grow up, how rich you are, how poor you are. People are people. People, that's all external trappings. People are people. People are conscious experiential beings. You know, and that's a universal fact. So yeah, it seems like we're at a point now, all of us, where we're starting to kind of reintegrate the spiritual back into putting it back into the reality, back into our experience. We're starting to not that it can ever leave, it's only because of it that you even get to have the experience, but there's the noticing that we are more than what we think we are. You know, and the way that we start to discover that is when we start to see through our own bullshit. That's how we start to notice, when suddenly we see through the bullshit of how we've thought the world was, how we thought we were, how we thought they were. When we start to see through, when there's a chink, when there's what is it, that saying by there's a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in.
Leonard Cohen.
By Leonard Cohen, yeah. Once the light fills that crack, it's like, you've got this game-changing noticing that's taken place. I think we're all really lucky people. Every single one of us. I think we're all really lucky people. Okay. I'm going to call it a night because it's 9 o'clock. Just want to thank you all so much for coming tonight, making this a really, really beautiful event. If anybody wants to get in touch with us, you can do. It's info@freedomthinking.co.uk. If you want to work with Generai, give us a shout, info@freedomthinking.co.uk. We work with individuals and couples and families, and give us a shout if we think we can be of assistance to you. We haven't got a website yet because we still haven't had it rebuilt. But I just want to send so much love and thanks to everybody. It's been I've really enjoyed this. It's been really beautiful. Thank you both, for all three of you, for sharing. Thank you for coming. Everybody who's come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
you're welcome. Yeah, next Monday.
Yes,
Next Monday. We will be
in the north
in the north, won't we? Yeah. So we think.
for about a week.
Let's find out.
Well, we've got the move date now, so
Yeah. We'll probably be in the north, but who the fuck knows? I don't know. Right. Love you all.
Love you loads.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Take care. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.